Promise by the Lake. Emma often visited the quiet lake near her hometown, a place where the water mirrored the sky and time seemed to pause. It was there, years ago, that she met Daniel. He was a traveler, carrying only a small backpack and a notebook filled with sketches. Their first conversation had been simple, about the color of the sunset and the way the water caught the light. Yet, something in Daniel's gentle smile and the way he listened made Emma feel as though she had known him forever. Over the weeks, Daniel stayed longer than he planned. They walked along the lake at dawn, shared secrets under the old oak tree, and wrote their dreams on scraps of paper, hiding them in a small glass jar beneath the roots. "I'll come back," Daniel promised one night, holding her hand tightly as the stars glimmered above. "No matter where life takes me, I'll find my way here again." But life had its own plans. Daniel's letters came less often, then stopped altogether. Emma waited by the lake every summer, her heart caught between hope and silence. Years passed. Emma became a teacher, her life steady but tinged with a quiet ache. Still, she returned to the lake, sometimes opening the glass jar to read their old dreams, reminders of a love that had never truly faded. One autumn evening, as the leaves turned gold, Emma stood by the water's edge. She heard footsteps behind her and turned. There he was, Daniel, older, wearier, but with the same eyes that had once promised forever. "I kept my word," he whispered, his voice breaking. "It took me too long, but I'm here." Emma's heart trembled. She wanted to be angry, to remind him of the years lost. But as he reached for her hand, the past melted away, leaving only the present, the lake, the stars, and the promise that had finally been kept. She smiled through her tears. "Welcome home." And together, they watched the sun sink into the horizon, just as they had so many years before. Two souls bound by time, distance, and a love that had survived them both. The last train. Emma had always believed that love came quietly, like a soft breeze that you didn't notice until it touched your skin. She wasn't looking for it the night she missed her bus and ended up waiting at the nearly empty train station. The platform was quiet except for a young man sitting a few seats away, reading a worn book. His coat looked too thin for the cold, yet his expression was peaceful, as though the world's chaos couldn't touch him. Emma glanced at him once, then again, until he finally looked up. Their eyes met, and he smiled, a simple, unguarded smile that made her heart skip. "You missed the bus too?" he asked. His voice carried warmth, the kind that lingered. She nodded, hugging her scarf closer. "Seems like fate wanted me here instead." They talked as they waited, about books, cities they wished to visit, and little dreams that felt too fragile to say out loud. His name was Daniel, and he spoke about life as if every detail mattered. Emma found herself laughing more than she had in months. When the last train finally arrived, neither wanted to say goodbye. Yet they both stepped inside, sitting together, as though the universe had silently decided they belonged on the same path. The city lights blurred outside the window, but Emma hardly noticed. All she could see was the way Daniel listened, truly listened, to every word she said. And when silence fell, it wasn't heavy, it felt like understanding. At her stop, Emma hesitated. She wasn't sure if she should ask to see him again or let the night remain a perfect memory. But before she could decide, Daniel reached into his book and tore out a blank page. He scribbled something quickly, folded it, and pressed it into her hand. "Read it when you're ready," he whispered. The doors closed between them, and the train carried him away. Emma unfolded the paper under the glow of the streetlight. It simply said, "I don't believe in coincidences. Call me." Her fingers trembled as she traced the numbers. For the first time in years, her heart wasn't quiet, it was racing. And somehow, she knew this was only the beginning. Whispers of the old cafe. The little cafe on Maple Street had been there for as long as Emma could remember. Its wooden tables, the faint aroma of roasted beans, and the sound of soft jazz felt like a warm embrace every time she walked in. That Tuesday afternoon, she settled into her usual corner with a notebook. She liked watching people, guessing their stories while writing fragments of her own. She never expected her story to begin there. "Is this seat taken?" a gentle voice asked. Emma looked up. A man stood there, holding a book instead of a laptop, his dark hair slightly messy, his smile uncertain. "No," she said, gesturing to the chair. He sat down, opened his book, and for a while they shared a quiet rhythm, the scratch of Emma's pen, the turning of his pages, the clinking of cups around them. Then she noticed the title of his book. "That's my favorite," she blurted. His eyes lit up. "Really? Not many people read this author." From that spark, a conversation bloomed. They talked about literature, travels they wished to take, and the silly little things that made them laugh. Hours passed unnoticed. When Emma finally checked her watch, the cafe was nearly empty, the staff wiping tables. "I should go," she said reluctantly. "Me too," he replied, standing. Then after a pause, he added, "Would you, maybe like to come back here again? With me?" Emma felt her cheeks warm, but her smile was answer enough. Over the following weeks, the cafe became theirs. They marked time not by dates but by the drinks they shared, her cappuccino, his black coffee. Between conversations and quiet silences, Emma realized how naturally he fit into her world, as though he had always been there, waiting. One evening, rain tapped against the windows, blurring the glow of the streetlights. The cafe was nearly empty, just them and the storm outside. He reached across the table, his hand brushing hers. "Emma," he said softly, "I don't know what this is supposed to be, but I know I want it to last." She met his gaze, her heart steady and certain. "Then let's make it last." Outside, the rain poured harder, but inside, beneath the golden lights of the little cafe, their world had just begun. The bridge at dawn. Every morning, Emma walked across the old stone bridge on her way to work. It was quiet at that hour, the mist still resting on the river, the world not yet awake. She liked the solitude, until one day, it wasn't just hers. A man stood there, sketchbook in hand, pencil moving quickly as he tried to capture the scene. He had dark hair, slightly messy, and an air of quiet focus. Emma slowed down, curious. "You're blocking the sunrise," he said without looking up. His tone wasn't rude, just honest. She stepped aside, amused. "Better?" He finally looked at her and smiled. "Much." The next morning, he was there again. And the morning after that. Emma found herself adjusting her walk just to catch him. His name was Daniel, an artist who claimed he couldn't paint in the day's noise, only in the stillness of dawn. Days turned into weeks. They began talking about her love for books, his dream of holding an exhibition, their favorite places in the city. Emma realized she looked forward to mornings now, not because of the sunrise, but because of him. One foggy day, Daniel asked, "Why do you always cross this bridge? Surely there are quicker routes." Emma hesitated, then admitted softly, "Because you're here." He laughed, but his eyes softened. He reached into his bag and pulled out a sketch. It was her, standing on the bridge, hair caught in the breeze, looking at the river. "Because you're here too," he said. The mist lifted slowly, revealing the sun breaking over the horizon. Emma thought the bridge had always been beautiful, but in that moment, with Daniel beside her, it felt like the beginning of something more. From then on, the bridge was no longer just a crossing point. It was their place, the place where solitude turned into companionship, and a simple sunrise became the start of love.